Hey guys, you're tuned in to the final episode of Anubhav with your host Malvika Kumar, Senior Coordinator of the Branding Cell. So far in our previous podcasts, we have covered a variety of topics from life at SIMS, B-School competitions decoded, the orientation saga, and entrepreneurship. If you haven't listened to them, I would highly recommend you to give them a listen as well. These fortnight doses of intriguing conversations are conceptualized to give you an insight into the amazing journey that thousands of student managers have had at SIMS Pune over the years. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now, let's jump into your fortnightly dose of the podcast. Today on the show, I'll be talking to Sarthak Mehrotra, who specialized in marketing, and Arzu Sandhu, who specialized in finance, from the batch of 2020. We'll be discussing what life after SIMS looks like and gather insights about 9-to-5 jobs and how to navigate them. I'm sure our listeners can't wait to know more about your journey so far. So let's begin with the most sought after question. How is life after SIMS?
Hi everyone, I am Sarthak Mehrotra and I've completed my MBA from SIMS in the year 2020 with majors in marketing and minor in finance. I am currently employed by Deloitte as a research analyst and have recently completed my first year with the firm. Before I begin sharing my experience, I and Arzu would like to express our gratitude to the Branding Cell for launching this podcast initiative. Based on the podcast we've listened so far, we strongly believe that it is going to be extremely valuable for the student managers in strategizing the next 2 years in the most effective manner possible. Kudos to the team for this great effort. Talking about life after SIMS, I think it has changed quite a bit. From 2 years of the learning phase, I have now entered into the execution phase. There is a lot more expectations and responsibilities than ever before, but it is definitely fun and I'm really enjoying this new phase. Being someone who likes to be busy always, I consider myself extremely fortunate to have a job that allows me to work on a variety of projects while also providing immense opportunities for learning new things. This is something that I used to do a lot while I was in SIMS, and hence this transition from SIMS to the corporate world has been very seamless.
Hi everyone, I'm Arzu Sandhu, and post completing my MBA in finance in 2020, I have been working with HDFC Limited. Life after SIMS is all about adjusting to a new phase of life. Having had prior work experience, it was an easier transition to get back to a work mode. While at SIMS, you could involve yourself in multiple avenues, learn more about yourself, develop new skills, and give yourself the freedom and time to experience and grow, because after graduating you will always find yourself in a time crunch, and it's then that you realize that the time invested in yourself while at SIMS was actually fruitful, because that's not going to come again.
What can we now expect from virtual 9-to-5 jobs? And how have they been different for you from physically being present at your respective workplaces?
I worked in an office prior to my MBA and now I work from home, so I've seen both the sides. I am a firm believer that organizations should focus on how we do the work rather than where we do the work from. In terms of my personal experience, I was virtually onboarded in June of last year when COVID was in its early stages in India. While virtual onboarding can be a difficult task for some companies, it was not so for Deloitte. Our virtual onboarding was seamless and I haven't had any issues that have disrupted my work till date. I believe that work from home or the hybrid model is here to stay for the foreseeable future, and we must begin to acknowledge it as the new normal. While the work stays largely unchanged, there has been a significant shift towards digital tools like Zoom and Microsoft Teams to carry out our day-to-day operation. I also see that there is a lot of noise around productivity, well-being, long working hours. I believe that these KPIs vary by industry and have a lot to do with how you manage your time. Personally, working from home makes me more productive rather than working in an office, as I don't have to commute, which saves a lot of time. However, I do believe that breaking the ice or networking is much more difficult in a virtual setup, and therefore I believe that a hybrid model would be a smart strategy for the companies to adopt moving forward.
Well, in these times, a 9 to 5 job has become a myth. Due to COVID across different sectors, there is a massive increase in the workload, and there seems to be no longer any fixed working hours.
My next question would be, how has SIMS MBA program supported your career, and what is the most valuable impact it has had on you?
I think SIMS was a defining moment in my career. It helped me explore my hidden talents and made me a more confident individual. SIMS not only helped me land a great job, but it also helped me in finding my life partner. I hope Arzu you would agree with me on this. Hence, joining SIMS was a great move both from a professional as well as a personal standpoint. Being a student-driven B school, SIMS gave me a plethora of opportunities to identify my skills and to put my ideas into action. I've always tried to strike a balance between my academics and extracurricular activities, which I believed opened several doors for me. As far as I can recall, I began my journey working with the placement cell. Then I moved on to lead the Connect with SIMS club, and eventually I landed an opportunity to launch a new cell, which was the branding cell, right from scratch. I feel working with these cells and clubs provided me with a tremendous learning opportunity that allowed me to build new skills as well as allowed me to grow as an individual.
Definitely, SIMS has had a huge role to play in shaping not only my professional career but also helped in providing the avenue for exploring extracurriculars as well. Being a passionate photographer since my undergraduate days, I had joined the editorial and media relations cell and had the opportunity to learn designing and video making as well. I was also part of the corporate presentation team, and for a person with stage fright, that had helped build my confidence. One of the best learnings was also being a part of the student council and conducting the orientation program for the juniors. Truly, it was an enriching experience, and no books can teach you the true essence of being a student leader than practical experience.
Before we bring this podcast to a close, what tips or advice would you like to share with the current and future batches that are working hard towards building their prospective careers?
MBA is a different ballgame altogether when you compare it with the rest of the courses that are out there. The sooner you understand, the better it is for you. Being a nerd does not ensure a fancy career. Instead, one must try to strike a balance between their academics and their extracurricular activities. One must leverage these 2 years to identify their strengths, develop new skill set, and most importantly, start to network from day one. Being a student-driven B school, SIMS will give you a plethora of opportunities wherein you can showcase your skills. You can take part in B school competition, you can get yourself enrolled in different cells, clubs, you can organize multiple events. So what I'm trying to highlight over here is there is so much more to explore apart from the academics, which I feel is often neglected by the student managers, especially during their first year. From my personal experience, one thing that helped me was my practical knowledge and ability to execute the ideas. This is something that I developed through the tons of internship and life projects that I did along these 2 years. You will get a lot of downtime in between. Make sure you make the most out of it. Since MBA is probably the last time you all will be attending the college, I'm talking about the majority of people here. Make sure you build some amazing memories and make friends that will last a lifetime. And if you are as fortunate as I was, you might also end up finding your better half. Last but definitely not the least is the placements and internship. Please have a strategy in place. Don't just blindly sit for companies. Choose your role wisely. It is better to wait than to regret. So that's all I have to say from my end. Thank you once again, Branding Cell, for allowing me to share my experience. It's been a pleasure working with you.
The best advice I can give is to always have the thirst to learn, not just at SIMS but even when you're starting out your career. Always ask questions, learn from the mistakes you make, and work smartly. In these times, only hard work doesn't always pay off. You need to be smart about the way you're approaching your work and have a lean mindset. But most of all, just keep yourself involved in areas apart from your studies because staying active, healthy, and happy are just as important.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sarthak and Arzu. I'm sure our listeners have enjoyed this final episode of Season 1 and are inspired by everything that's to come. If you love this episode, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, and share our podcasts with your friends and family. This podcast was brought to you by the SIMS Branding Cell.